I have signed up too much for myself. I have to write a 45-minute paper. I'm just so stressed. I always give myself time, and now I know why. And so when I thought that I'd written up to 5,800 words, turns out I hadn't, because I had like a 500-word bibliography in there. Yeah, no, I've got like the stress jitters going on and it's not going great. My legs are cramping from having sat at this desk all day. If anything, it can just be 24 hours in the life of an incredibly stressed PhD student. So I've been going back and forth all day, tossing up whether I should video right now, because I am like stressed, and oh yeah, basically I decided that maybe videoing will take away the stress, because as I like talk through and update what I do, it should help me like think through what I'm doing. So that is my logic for this. I don't know how well it's gonna go, but you know, if anything, it can just be 24 hours in the life of an incredibly stressed PhD student. Basically, I have signed up too much for myself in November, and I haven't felt this stressed in such a long time. Basically, I have taken on, I have a part-time job, I study full-time, and I've taken on like what they call a mini job in Germany, where it's a very temporary contract of proofreading. And it's such a good opportunity and I'm absolutely loving doing it. But in the midst of all of that, I have a presentation to write, because I've been asked to speak at our like department seminar tomorrow, which is Monday morning. It's Sunday, by the way, and it is Monday evening. It's our Monday seminar, and I have to write a 45-minute paper, which is the longest thing I've ever written. I've only ever spoken, I think, maximum 25 minutes, and I have to add another 20 minutes onto that, which is really cool because it means that I can actually break down everything that I'm doing, but it means I have to write it. And I've been trying all week to write stuff, and I had a really bad week, and so I only got through a very small amount. Basically, I'm editing a paper that I gave in September, so it's not like starting from scratch, but it wasn't a very good paper. I wasn't very proud of it, and I also have to go in much more depth. So what I have done this week is I've done my Latin analysis of all of my stories. I'm only going through 3 in this talk, and what I had to go do is like here, oh great, I've had to go through and analyze the Latin and figure out the similarities between the stories, and so that's all done, which is really good. I just need to write the sections on it so that it's not just like a hey, here's the thing that I've done, but like a something that I can actually talk through. And I need to write the analysis section for the stories anyway, and not just I analyze the Latin, but what does it mean, which is what I didn't really do so well the last time I gave this paper. And I have more time to explain my theory in and of itself, which is really cool. So I need to go through and write that, and I'm just so stressed. I feel like I shouldn't have taken on this presentation, and I shouldn't have done it at the same time that I'm doing everything else. But it is 3 p.m. on Sunday the 12th of November, and I have to give my paper 6:30 p.m. on Monday, and I have to come up with a presentation as well, so I need to make a PowerPoint. And basically I am stressed. I never leave things this last minute, but hopefully just get it done, just put my headphones on, get in the zone, put on some calming music and write. Hopefully I can do it. Anyway, thanks for coming along for this very stressed 24 hours, and yeah, I guess we just get writing. I'm going to be honest, I may have had a stress nap. I'm not proud of it, but I get like a 3-4 p.m. slump like every day without fail, and it's something that I really struggle with, but is very real. This sounds so stupid, but it helps when I'm at the office, or I don't know, I drink a coffee later or whatever. But because I was so stressed today, I felt like I couldn't push through, and I don't know, I was just feeling very overwhelmed by everything there is to do, and so I decided to just roll with it, and I went and had a nap. And so I'm back now. I've been awake for a while and I did a little bit of work, but I thought I would come on here, be honest, be real about the 24 hours. But basically I am trying to finish the script tonight as much as possible so that I can practice it tomorrow, edit it tomorrow, and make the presentation most likely tomorrow. Unless I finish this early enough that I can make the presentation. But I haven't done anything this late in terms of the writing since like my undergrad days, and it is so stressful. Like, why did I used to do this to myself? I always give myself time, and now I know why. So I don't know, I just can't believe I have to present this tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it will be fine, but right now in the moment it doesn't feel fine. So I am at 5,686 words. Bear in mind that this is a script that I'm editing from my last presentation, so a lot of the base work is there. It's just that I have to heavily edit it because it wasn't a great paper, and I have now done all of this research that I showed you earlier, and I need to put that in. So I'm pretty much finished with the introduction section. I just need to write one more thing, and then it's just about the analysis side of it and the conclusion. My main problem is I just don't know how long I need this to be. I think when I'm giving a 20-minute paper, which, bear in mind, when you give a 20-minute paper, it's really disrespectful to go over 20 minutes. And so even when you're given a 20-minute time slot, you normally plan for like 15 to 18 minutes, so that if you ad-lib, it'll add extra time, or if you don't ad-lib, at least 18 minutes is within. And so I know that for me, that's normally around like 3,200 to 500. And because I'm doing 45-minute paper, surely you'd do like a, I don't know, 2.1 times the original thing. I don't know, my maths isn't very good, but you pretend or assume that I could just 2 times 1 it, 2.1 times it. But last time I tried to use that maths, which I was supposed to do a 30-minute paper, so I 1.5'd it, and I think I wrote like 4,500 words or something around there, and it was way too short. I was supposed to give a 30-minute paper and it ended up being 22 minutes. And I know that I was really stressed and I spoke a lot faster than I intended to. But when you've got 30 minutes to talk and you only talk for 22 minutes, like, you've missed out a lot of analysis time, which I know if I just had this was for this paper when it was a 30-minute paper. The reason it wasn't a very good paper in my opinion was because I'd missed out on a lot of the analysis that I didn't think I had time to talk about, because I'm doing this theory that not a lot of people have talked about, or that not a lot of people are aware of. And so I do have to do a lot of background of like, what is patterning every time I talk, which obviously takes time out of the analysis section. And so that's why I'm kind of excited for this 45-minute paper, because I can actually do both. It just means that I have to write both. And oh, yeah, I should have written this earlier. I wish that I hadn't had a bad week, but that is the reality of it, and it's what I have to deal with. So I need to find a new playlist, because the one that I was using before was not it. It was so repetitive, and I don't do well with repetitive songs. It was one of these YouTube videos where it's released by Ambient Worlds, and they pretty much repeat the same song every like 20 minutes. And so it's too repetitive for me. So I think I'm gonna find something else and get back to it.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my lungs give out.
So I have done the absolute brilliant thing of realizing that the draft I was working on had a bibliography in it. And so when I thought that I'd written up to 5,800 words, turns out I hadn't, because I had like a 500 word bibliography in there. And so I've actually only written 5,543, including the stuff that was already in this draft from last time. So yay me, so excited. As you can tell, I'm stressed. Yeah, no, I've got like the stress jitters going on and it's not going great. So got some water and I've put the music through the UE boom rather than through my headphones because I'm finding that the cord is kind of stressing me out, but I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so it's 7:30 p.m. and I have finished the introduction, which sounds so bad, but I feel like that was the hardest part to write because it was bringing up more than I'd previously had. I really didn't write a very solid paper for this presentation and I'm seeing so many holes as I'm going through and rewriting it. Obviously now I have more time and more words to play with, but I think, yeah, I was trying to be too ambitious by trying to fit too much in without being able to properly analyze and introduce everything. So I've written a section. Also, I'm making myself a tea because I'm trying to de-stress. I'm having like the stress jitters and I think I just need to have a calming chamomile tea and hope that that helps. So that's that going on in the background. But with the introduction, I've fully properly broken down what patterning is, which is my technique that I'm analyzing, and going through like the two different types of patterning, whether it's the macro or the micro patterning. And then I'm also going through what it means if it's an acknowledged pattern versus an unacknowledged pattern, which is something that I am arguing is notable in this. I have also just written a section on who Gregory Tour was, because I didn't do that in my last paper because so many of the people that I knew from the conference already knew who Gregory was. And going through something like this can be really tedious when you don't know your audience, because I don't know, a lot of people will know who Gregory is and so you're kind of just wasting time. But I know that with my audience this time, a lot of them are Carolingenists or later historians and haven't really done as early as Gregory, and so I thought I'll talk about him a little bit, but mostly in reference to like his education, which is obviously very important with my technique, because how would he have come across the technique if he didn't have a rhetorical education? And so I'm kind of showing evidence of his education and his role in society, that he was like a political commentator but also a bishop, and yeah, that side of stuff. So I've kind of gone through who he is and who he is as a writer, and then I brought up his audience, so it's like his intended audience, his actual audience, and so forth. And then I have a section on temporal communities, because that's also an aspect that I will be focusing on in the paper. So I feel like now that that base is there, it feels a lot better, because that was, I feel like, the hardest part to write. But even though that was the hardest part to write, I feel like the analysis is the part that I'm most nervous for, because I know that that's going to get the most critique in my paper. Like, obviously this was the most time consuming to write because it's stuff that only a specialist would know, and so I need to go through and read all the literature on who Gregory was and all that. But this is all like how I'm translating the Latin and what I'm noticing about these stories, and yeah, it just feels a little bit nerve-wracking basically. So I'm gonna make myself a tea. Luke is almost home, which means that we can have some dinner, hopefully take a bit of a mental break, de-stress, and then come back and start writing. You're gonna get lots of thumbs up in this video, because that's my stress thing. Yeah, cool, okay. feel like every time I start this I've got another hairdo. It is now 11:30. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was 11:30. This is why Luke wants to go to bed. It's 11:30 and Luke's brain has shut down, and while I could keep going, I'm definitely more of a morning person, and I think that I would benefit more from getting up early and writing than trying to push through and write now. I also feel like, worst comes to worst, I've got the template of how I want to do this, and I can just very quickly fill it out tomorrow. Basically, I think the reason this section between finishing the introduction and where I've got to now has taken so long is because I've got 3 case studies, and I was really drawing out the analysis of the first case study, so I finished that, and I think that's why it took so long, because I didn't have a template. Whereas now I feel like I've got a template of how I want to do it. I can kind of just follow that for the next 2 case studies. I definitely wrote it and reordered it a few times, where I said all the similarities and then all the differences. Then I realized that it actually just makes sense if I do it in chronological order and point out the similarities and differences as they come through the story. And then after going through the structural similarities, going through like the textual similarities as well as the kind of important bits that I want to highlight, and then concluding by making a comment on Gregory's audience, which is like the point of my paper. So this is all the stuff that I basically should have done last time and didn't because I didn't think I had time to. So I'm up to 6,692 words, which is a heck of a lot. This is also minus the bibliography, and I'm actually kind of worried that this is going to be like a 8,000 word presentation, which is a heck of a lot. And then I have to time it as well tomorrow and make my presentation. But I've got this and I've already got it out, and I'm going to put it in my bag now, because last time I gave a presentation I forgot to put it in my bag and I left it, this was actually in Jerusalem, I left it in the hotel room, which was a pain because I'd practiced using it, and it's so nice having the little like laser pointer. And since I'm going to take my laptop to present on, because that's what I'm comfortable with, I just want to bring this and just have a fully comfortable environment. Anyway, it's 11:30, I'm going to go to bed. See you tomorrow morning. This is going better than I thought it would go, but I'm definitely ready to sleep and try again tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow.
Was out drinking, looking for the next thing. I couldn't really settle down. Always on the run, I didn't want to slow down. But baby, then you came around. Yeah, you came around.
Good morning. It is 10:20 and I have been going since 9, just before 9. My timer seems to think I've been going since like 10 to 9, which is good. And I was definitely right last night when I was saying that I think writing the template took a long time, but copying the template isn't, because it has been an hour and a half, which still feels like a long time, but it's been an hour and a half and I finished the second of 3 case studies, which is really cool. I'm feeling very, very satisfied with that. Basically, that was also the longest of the case studies. All my other case studies have been quite short, like this one is 6 pages for the 2 stories within the case studies, and the other one I think is 4 pages, whereas the one I just did was 9. There you go, 9 pages. And so I'm not surprised it took so long, but it also gives me hope that doing this it gives me hope that doing this last case study will go quickly, theoretically. my main thing is just trying to remember what I'm trying to say, and trying to like not just go through the case study but analyze it at the end as well. So I've got to remember to do that so that I've got analysis, unlike the last time I did this presentation. And yeah, I'm up to 7,620 words, so this is like ridiculously long, and I've still got more to go. So yep, I don't know, I'll probably check in when it's done. I think Luke's gonna make us coffee now. We need coffee, get us through the day. I think I'm done. I've got 8,080 words and I've written the conclusion. So unlike last time where I kind of just stopped speaking, I actually have a conclusion, which is good. But 8,000 words, that is a heck of a lot of words. So basically what I need to do now is read through it and time it to see where it is, and then I need to go through and edit it, and I need to make my presentation, because see, here's the problem. I have such high expectations for what I want my presentation to look like, and I either don't have the time or I don't have the skills. And so I don't know, I might have to make the basic presentation, and then if I have time go through and make it like pretty with all the animations and everything. I also need to decide if I want a handout. But what I am going to do is record this. Oh, see, that's the problem, is like I hate timing things. When it's a 20-minute paper, it's fine because it's just recording for 20 minutes. But right now I have to make sure that I have 45 minutes or potentially longer in case this takes longer. Okay, no worries. I will do this. I'll time it. It's 11:10 a.m. and so theoretically, if I can time this, I can then take a break and go into lunch and come back afterwards. Yeah. Okay. I also have my coffee. Still going. So my main takeaway from that is that I need lots of water. Normally I speak pretty well and I don't like dry out my throat, but I don't know if it's because I'm sitting by an open window, which is drying out my throat with the cold air, or I don't know, maybe I just need lots of water. But that was 45 minutes and 24 seconds, which is not bad. Like, that is ridiculously well timed considering. I did have to pause it to edit it throughout certain points, but the fact that it got to 45 minutes, that's like bang on. So good. Basically it's structured where we got 45 minutes of talking and 45 minutes of questions. So if I do talk over, it's just less question time, which is the part that I don't like the most. But I'm really stoked with it. I feel really happy with this, and I think that it's fleshed out better. Still not super happy with my conclusion. I feel like it ends very suddenly, but I don't really have any further words in my brain at the moment. So I'm going to take a break. I think Luke and I are going to have lunch, and then I will come back to this and make my presentation. So yeah, considering that I'm doing most of this within 24 hours, it's actually not bad. I was very stressed yesterday, very stressed when I woke up today, but I'm feeling pretty confident. Yeah. Okay, it is now 1:30, which is not my ideal, but it's fine. We basically just had some lunch, and then I actually wrapped down there. I finished wrapping the box of Christmas gifts for our family in New Zealand because that needs to be sent off very soon, and I wasn't really ready to get back into writing / creating a PowerPoint. And then I showered and blow dried my hair so that at least I'm mostly ready for tonight. I just need to get changed, and yeah, I'm now going to make the presentation. My thought is I normally try and find a theme and then stick to it throughout, but what I might do is just make a very blank presentation and then fix the colouring later when I make it better, because that way I'm not spending time fiddling with stuff. Like, I can just do that later, and at least then I have the basic outline of stuff. Yeah, Anyway, just thought I'd update. I'm going to do that now, and the stress has slightly disappeared, but it's still there, still keeping me going. Anyway. My legs are cramping from having sat at this desk all day. Really, I should have gone into my office so I could have used the standing desk, but that's fine, that's the situation we're dealing with. I am so almost done with my presentation. It doesn't have anything fancy, like animations or anything, but it's doing the job. And I've got 64 slides. I've only got one more case study to flesh out the slides for, which is unfortunately the longest case study because I'm somebody who leaves the longest to the last. It's just, ugh, it's so stupid. I know that I do it, but anyway. I've made myself a snack of apples, and Luke's actually gone to the supermarket to buy us some dumplings because we're only gonna have dinner at like 8:30 p.m. because that's when the colloquium finishes, and we're both so hungry and we have nothing in the house apart from pre-made meals because we meal prep. And so if we go through all of our snacks for the week, we just have nothing unless we want to defrost a full meal, which we don't want to do because we're going to be eating dinner later. Anyway, he's gone to go get some eggs for breakfast, and he thought while he was there he'd get me some dumplings, which is very sweet. Anyway, I thought I'd show you what I have for my presentation so far. It is super basic. Like, I have not done any bells and whistles. It's just like my script basically laid out. But what's the coolest part of it is that because I'll show you the overview first. Because I'm going through like narrative patterns and how this segment is related to this segment, and then the segment's standalone, but then these two are related. What I've done is the font is so small that as I'm talking through the stories, I'm introducing it as it goes. So like this is the first point, very big font so that everyone can see it. And then when I go to the next one, it goes like the next point, but then the last point that I said is up there. And it slowly builds as I go through it, which is very cool. I am quite proud of myself for this. It's obviously not the most technologically savvy thing in the world, but it's fine, it does the job. And then when I'm going through like Latin things, I've gone through and done it like this. And yeah, this bit though is what's taking the longest, obviously, because I have to go through and like unwhite out this bit and insert it into here. But anyway, I'm gonna keep going and hopefully check in with you when it's done. It's 4:30, so realistically I want to be done 5 at the latest so that I can get ready and then head down. But yeah, I also need to print my script, so still a lot to do, but we're getting there. Standing at the bus stop, so I'm going to update now. Luke's coming. But I unfortunately only finished at 5:15, and so I had to get ready in like 20 minutes, which wasn't great. And now we're running a bit later than I wanted to be, but that's okay. We're heading there now.
We're still going to be early.
Well, I have to set up my computer and everything, so yeah, they can't start without me, literally, so.
So everyone else is just early.
Yeah.
You can't be late.
Anyway, the bus is coming, so I'll update you afterwards. Well, we really have come full circle. I'm wearing the same jumper that I was wearing. Of course, I was covering it up before because I was trying to hide the fact that it said Merry Christmas, but who cares? My decorating for Christmas video has gone up now, and so I'm just claiming all the Christmas that I can get. Anyway, I'm wearing the same jumper. My hair is different, so we've got like another hairstyle coming into this video. But yeah, you can see the fairy lights and it's now done, and I'm so happy it's done. I've actually edited this video already and then remembered that I needed to update how the presentation went. Basically, oh my gosh, I keep saying that word. I need like a new filler word. I just keep saying basically, or anyway, because I was about to say that as well. So I spoke for, I think, 50 minutes. Which was a very long time, and I didn't intend to speak for 50 minutes, but I spoke a lot slower, which I think was good. It's always good to speak slower. When I get stressed, speak really fast, and so I made an effort to speak slowly. I didn't actually print out my script, I just did it on my tablet, which personally, I prefer that because you can change the size of the font. You can't obviously edit that on paper, and you can also go through and make changes without like scribbling on your piece of paper, because I've had it where, actually again in the Jerusalem conference, this just wasn't a good conference for me, but basically, or anyway, oh my gosh, I'd written out some notes and then I couldn't read my handwriting because I was stressed when I wrote it, and so I thought, at least if it's on my tablet I can type in the notes and then it's legible. So I spoke from my tablet. The presentation worked really well, except for the fact that I skipped some slides, and so I ended up getting a little bit muddled, but I had some really great questions, and since I'm about to start writing this chapter, I got some really good feedback that I can implement while I'm writing. So that's kind of my goal before the end of the year, is to, fingers crossed, try and finish writing this chapter. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's my goal. We'll see if it happens. Obviously I've got Vlogmas coming up, which is not the priority, but Vlogmas implies that it's Christmas time, and if it's Christmas time, then it's when my friend from New Zealand comes over and my parents are coming over and we're going on holiday, and obviously it's all of those times that I can't work, and so I'm trying to get as much done before all of that starts as possible. But I just want to say that it went really well, even though I wrote it the day before. I'm definitely glad that I practiced it before I went in, because there were a few bits that I had to highlight because it's words that I normally stumble over, and so because I had highlighted it, I could see it and just speak a bit slower for those bits, like be pre-warned. It also meant that I knew where the script was going because I'd gone through it and I knew kind of what came next. So it's always a good thing to practice it, even though I felt like that last day was very squishy. I'm glad that I practiced it. But anyway, thank you so much for coming along with this video. I said at the beginning that I was tossing up on whether to video this or not because of how stressed I was, and it really did help having the ability to talk through things and kind of air out my concerns, so it wasn't just all in my head and I wasn't just stressing out. Like I could actually, I don't know, like it felt like it was a little bit of a stress relief being able to talk about it. And so yeah, thank you so much for coming along with this, and if you want to come along my husband and I's December journey, then don't forget to subscribe, because I'm doing Vlogmas for the first time. I'm currently trying to work out a Vlogmas intro because I've always wanted a Vlogmas intro and I'm trying to organize an animated one, so if that doesn't happen then it's just going to be Luke and I. But yeah, stick around if you want to see that, and it's going to be a whole mixture of content of Christmas stuff and travels and work and everything basically. So thank you for being here, and I really appreciate you, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, out of reach for the city lights. This ain't where